So that is one of the pieces of legislation that parental rights is supporting. What we're really trying to do is now get every state involved at a local level. The first initial effort was to pass constitutional amendments in every state, but we found that there was too much money on the other side fighting against that. And also it takes a really long time. And now is not the time for a long time because all these treaties are being voted on right now. So we have changed our game plan, and we want to have legislation in New Jersey that specifies that parents have the right to make decisions regarding the education, the upbringing, the care, from medical to sex education, whatever it should be. The parents have the right to decide. So we are supporting anything that supports parental rights. Again, if you read the language in Israel's bill, it's very, very strong, because not only does it give the parents the right to decide where the child should be educated, but it takes your tax-paying money and follows the children with it, which he didn't really touch on, but it literally resolves a lot of our financial problems as well. If you go back to this first agenda, so we already discussed, if we're going to go to agenda number 8, we already discussed the CRPD. So we're asked you guys to commit to.
Before you go any further.
Yes.
What are we saying to Lautenberg and Menendez? Are we sending them that email that you want us to?
Oh, no. See, that's a great question. That's a great question. These are two separate things, and this is the thing that's so confusing for a lot of people. Even some leaders, some Tea Party leaders couldn't understand this. It's such a good question. There's two treaties, the Child Rights Treaty and the Disabilities Treaty. Those two treaties, one is getting voted on tomorrow, so the request is that you call this blue paper, you might want to say 1, and you want to say, please vote no on the Convention of Rights of Persons with Disabilities. They all know it is a CRPD. So when you email, you could either look at this for language or just literally, I called today.
So that's Lautenberg and Menendez.
Correct. That was a great question though. And then this other one, the amendment, you could even refer to both things at the same time, but they're not going to listen to you when you do that anyway. So just do this at a future time. This is the constitutional amendment, and this is what we're trying to do to supersede or protect us from the treaty. So that's what people just don't really get. It's state law, federal law, U.S. Constitution, treaty. We're fighting against this treaty, so we want to put a constitutional amendment in place that would supersede the treaty, but we can't just do one or the other. We have to do both. So we're trying to create law that would protect us from the treaty, and we're trying to stop the treaty at the same time.
So are we just talking about the state of New Jersey?
No.
We're talking about everything.
Yes. Okay. And so in other words,
okay.
when we're talking about the treaties, this covers
all the states.
Yes. But in order to support this effort, we are now working on every individual state. So I have been working for 2 years to get a constitutional amendment. If you look on the back table, the Office of Legislative Services, they have drafted a New Jersey constitutional amendment. The legal team from Parental Rights, the national organization, they have said that we have got to go with a bill and not with an amendment for many reasons. One, because we can't afford to fight the people that would fight the constitutional amendment in New Jersey. So we're talking about a lot of things. We're talking about treaties. We're talking about the broad umbrella of the United States constitutional amendment, and then we're talking about New Jersey legislation. The New Jersey legislation is very important because if we have that bill, it would cover school choice. The parent, it automatically covers school choice. There's a whole bunch of other bills going on right now. If you look back at the agenda, I'm sorry, let's go to 9, since I'm referring to the things we're supporting. A509, there's a vaccine bill right now, and I don't know if all of you guys have heard about it or not, but it's a vaccine mandate, and what it will do is it will literally mandate that everybody who goes to public school, and now the amendment has included preschoolers, that if the government decides, or the health commissioner decides that the child should get this vaccine, that the child has to get the vaccine. And the only way out is a 4-step thing to, 1, get a note from your doctor, 2, certify that you have a religious, like in your Bible or in your holy book, that it actually says that you don't take medication. Now, who in their right mind is going to get their pastor to sign off on something like that? It's a liability. They're not going to do it. So what happened is Senator DeMio has a philosophical objection that would basically erase that. And what you would have to do is say, I philosophically disagree. In other words, a parental right. You have the right to say that that child should not get that vaccine, whether it's a religious conflict or not, because you shouldn't just be able to get out of vaccines because you're a Christian. That's ridiculous. You should be able to take your child away from getting a vaccine because you, as their parent, decide they shouldn't get it. Now, parental rights, our stand is not pro or con vaccine. What we are is pro parental rights. The parent should have the right to decide. And this one that Assemblyman DeMio has drafted, I really like it because what it does give the state the opportunity to say that the child has to leave the school if there's a sickness. Okay, so then you can't even complain that the non-vaccine child is going to get the other children sick. You can't even complain because the law itself states if there's an outbreak, then that child stays home. But the parent should have the right to decide. So in other words, there's a whole bunch of bills that support parental rights, and there's a whole bunch of bills that in New Jersey, and there's way more of them because they have the majority, that are stripping away your rights. You can read the language on the back table. But the bigger umbrella is to have legislation, a bill, that literally says the same thing that this constitutional amendment would work on. We met with Senator, I'm going to say his name is Authority Doherty, Senator Doherty, I always pronounce it wrong. I guess it was last month, maybe 2 months ago. And I discussed this whole thing with him. He said he was going to give us 20 minutes. He gave us 2 hours from start to finish. He completely is on board, willing to be the sponsor, even willing to let a Democrat be the sponsor just for the sake of getting bipartisanship on this. It's just amazing. And we already have a list of many, many people that will sponsor it. So what my plan is, and this is my plan, and I really, honest to God, believe with everything inside of me that it can work. I want to get 1 district director from every New Jersey district. Now we're talking New Jersey. So how many are there? 40. Okay. There's 40 districts. And every district has a senator, and then every district also has what? 2 assembly people. Very good. So if I have 40 district directors, and then each of them get a team of 4, 5, or 6, preferably 6, but if it winds up being 5, okay. And then what their job is to, and I should have passed this around. This is the if you can start passing this around. This is the petition. And it's exactly, basically, the language that you just read is up top. If you could find your name. If you do put your email address, please write it neatly because it will go into the parental rights database, okay? So if you become a district director, you have a team, and I will help you recruit. My goal is to speak in every district in our state, okay, to people like you. And the good thing is I've already done it for the Rick Santorum campaign, so I have relationships, okay? So I'm going to go and I'm going to see if I can identify district directors or people that are even willing just to get involved. And then if every district director, we identify a team of 5. Say there's a team of 5 in every district, okay? So that equals what? 5 times 4 is what? 200, correct. So we have 200 leaders. Every single person that's a leader is going to have a petition like this. And they're going to get as many people, friends, family, church peoples, you name it, to sign this petition, with the ultimate goal of saying that everybody who signs this petition, within reason, because not everybody will, but the goal is that all 6 of their representatives, so we have 2 state senators, we have 1 state U.S. congressperson, we have 1 state senator, and we have 2 state assembly people, so we have 6 legislators. Whatever bill comes up regarding school choice, regarding constitutional freedom, regarding parental rights, you will be in charge of calling, emailing your 20 people, okay? And making sure, will you email them? Will you call them? Will you, and how easy is that? You probably all have 5 family members that would immediately jump on board. It's not hard. It's really not hard. And I literally go to Trenton often. When I go to Trenton, it's like you just get a stomach ache because you watch the people voting. And you go and the senators. Like now I know some are really, really honest. Some are just, rhinos, and some are just there for the money. But some really, really care. And if you watch and you look over, it's for for the few that are just, it's really, really freedom fighters. They're like distraught because the votes are, whatever it is, 24 yes, and the rest either no or not voting, or 38 and 40. In other words, there's not one bill that gets out of committee into the Senate that the Democrats aren't putting forth. This is different. This is different. So we know people, there's people on our state team, as well as people, you all could decide to be a state leader. But what we're doing is we're identifying 5 or 6 different people that we want to replace and that we think we can replace. And we are going to start working on those specific districts with everything we can. And so just like Nick said, we're starting now. We've been working on it. I started working on it before the election, as to identify the assembly people that we can kick out, the senators that we can kick out, and either get them on board or get Democrats and Republicans from their district to say, how in the world can you not support a law that says parents have the right to make a decision over their children?
Right.
And use that to rise people up in the primary and get these people out of office or the general. And I really believe that we can do this. You start asking your Democrat friends, Obama supporters, if they think the parents should have a right to make the decision, guess what? They agree with you. This is really not a red or blue bill. And this is, I think, something that we could have so much power and so much leverage on changing the face of our legislators. You sit down with people like Senator Daugherty, or Daugherty. You sit down with him, and at first he's like, I know how much time this is going to take. Is it worth the effort? Because ultimately you're not going to win. I'm like, don't you understand that this is so strong? And he was so excited by the end of our meeting that he actually saw that this legislation is so powerful that we really could change the face of the legislative body in New Jersey. We really can, but it won't happen without y'all. Okay, yes?
Can I just ask you a question, because I've spoken to a couple legislators over the phone about things like this. People will argue that it doesn't protect children who are being abused by their parents. That's the argument. What do you say to them? What do you say? How is the state of New Jersey going to protect children that are being abused if this bill were to pass?
Well, being that I literally was a paralegal and I was in the courtroom, once a week, witnessing exactly what happened. First of all, New Jersey doesn't comply with laws anyway, because the laws really do protect the parents. And the courts don't, okay? But really what it comes down to is DIFUS will never not have control. This will just be language that we can use, that when we do appeal, or you do actually have an attorney, that this will trump their decision if their decision should be found not legitimate. In other words, I witnessed kids getting removed just because they're homeschool kids, and there's one family that Israel and I know quite well. The kids were, the one child, just to summarize really quick, the child was taken away because they thought the child had been salt poisoned. Once they found out the child was not salt poisoned, they kept the kids because the family was too radical, too Christian, and homeschooled their kids. If you read the caseworkers' write-ups, you would just have a stomach ache. Israel and I were like in tears for weeks over this case. They literally just went to the appellate court in New Jersey. They got the parental rights stripped from 3 of their kids. They will never get them back, with the exception that they're going to fight it now in the New Jersey Supreme Court. And now they have gotten the 2 back. Now this is more than 2 years later. The point is that DIFUS really has power. It's tyranny. It's beyond belief. But that's another reason why we're working on this. So there is no way on earth that DIFUS would ever not remove a child if they thought the child was in danger, whether it's medically, whether it's education-wise, whether it's abuse. DIFUS, if they think it, literally, it doesn't matter if anybody called on you, and they thought, it doesn't even matter if they think it's true. They will come and remove your child, and then they have, then you basically have a very short window to fight. To get them immediately back within 72 hours, and then if you lose that, it's like a year. So the answer to your question is, this will never strip the state's authority to take a child away if they think the child is being neglected or abused in any capacity. However, it might give the parent a right to appeal if they aren't abusing their child, and it's very true. I mean, I'm an eyewitness to it. I can't tell you how many nights I was up. So here's what I want you all to do. 1, sign the petition. Make sure your email is clean, because they're going to put it in the database. 2, if you're interested at all in either being part of this a district team, even if you're just one of those 20, let me know. I really would like you guys to step up as either district leaders or district directors. If you're a director, you have your own little meetings and your own little groups, but it's basically everything you do is from home. Email it, make your little list, and you will notify me of your people on your team. I will send out group emails. You have individual emails, but this is going to be a 2-year process. The short goal is to get district leaders in every district. with the longer goal to really, really have an impact in the primary, with the longer goal to have an impact in the general, and then change the face of our legislators, because it's going to be really hard to win if we don't. I think we still could, but it's really hard to win if we don't. And then really have an army of 4,000. If it's 200 leaders times 20, that's 4,000 people. And that's our primary, 2016, that's our primary army, our grassroots army right there. And I worked the Rick Santorum campaign. I was in every district. I saw people willing to give up their houses, everything, to elect a conservative in office. It's in every district. I cried at the amount of people, the amount of time, money, energy, reputation people were willing to give up in support of putting conservatives in office. So this is something that's not just one person. This is the change of New Jersey. It's the change of the administration. So at the bottom of all of this, that's my home phone number. My office, New Jersey Parental Rights office, New Jersey Parental Rights at Embark Mail, that's my email address. And then if you want to go on, it's endless. If you go on to www.parentalrights.org and start opening up things, I've been doing this for 2 years. There's not been one day that I haven't opened something else up and said, wow. I mean, any kind of law, any kind of, the treaties are there, it's just amazing. So you just keep opening it up, you will be amazed. It's amazing information. So please let me know if you'll be a leader. Minimum, please sign the petition. Maximum, be a district director, and then if you really feel so led, you can even be a state leader. But I really believe that we can do this. I really believe it, and I think this is the only type of legislation that can be used to change the face of our body. And it's not, if we don't change the way that we vote in New Jersey, it's gone. Yes?
How's the governor on this?
He says he's conservative. I think that's a hard question to answer. I don't know. I mean, whenever we've presented anything, he seems to be supportive, but that doesn't really mean anything, I say he certainly wouldn't veto it, and that would be one of the only concern if we actually pass it through the governor. But by the time we pass it, who's going to be in office, we don't know. But anyway, I thank you so very much, and clearly most of you really listened. I think most of you really understood. Do you have any questions for Israel regarding school choice?
So clear. No questions. Must be very clear.
Okay, and in the back, like I said, there's the Israel school choice bill is in the back, as well as the amended version that's not been approved yet. All of the bills we discussed are in the back, just for you to look at. And please email me, especially, and if you're willing, if you want to pray about it, and then let me know if you want to consider being a leader or at least part of a team. You can email me later. I'm developing a list right now. I do have a strategic plan up here, but this would only be for people that would be pretty sure that you want to be leaders, okay? So thank you so much.